Welcome back to the Bloom Room. Today's video I'm going to be explaining the 7 universal laws, which is something that literally started me on my spiritual journey, and not only started me but literally changed my life. So about a year or two ago, I was researching online just like I always do. Came across this website with a very profound, text, and so it was really long. Something in me told me to print it off. So I printed it off, used all the ink in my fucking printer. The last pages of this article or text that I printed off, the words are barely there because the ink is going out, but it was so profound to me that I literally went and wrote in as much as I could decipher from this because I was trying to recover these texts. A few days later, after I print off these long ass pages, I tried to go back to the website, which was called Pymander or something like that, and the website doesn't exist anymore. Even to this day, I will type it in and it will load forever. I was never able to load it up again, so thank fucking God that I printed this off. But basically what the text was the 7 universal laws. And the 7 universal laws are laws that govern everything in the universe. You can think of it as, the law of gravity. Everyone knows the law of attraction, which is one of the 12 universal laws. The only difference between the 7 universal laws and the 12 universal laws is that the 12 are way more specific. They both have some common denominators, and the ones that the 12 includes that the 7 doesn't, they're actually inside the 7 universal laws. It's just broken down more. I guess the 12 is broken down more and more specifically. So I'm just going to focus on the 7 because that's what got me into my spiritual journey. That's what really changed my life. These mysterious texts that disappeared really shook me to my core, and I was like, I have to get this information out because obviously they're trying to shut the shit down. So the version I was looking at was actually the 7 Hermetic Principles, and these laws were, created or thought of or, manifested into text by Hermetic Principles. I'm probably saying that wrong as fuck, but he was an ancient Greek philosopher, and he created the alchemical teachings of, the 7 Hermetic Principles. The 7 Hermetic Principles went on later to become the 7 universal laws. So the text that I was reading was actually the ancient scripts, the ancient texts that he wrote, and it's in a book, the 7 Hermetic Principles. Hermes also went by the name of Thoth, T-H-O-T-H. If you ever see the writings of Thoth, that's also Hermes. The idea of the 7 Hermetic Principles is self-mastery. If you search the 7 Hermetic Principles, you're going to have a much more deeper, profound meaning, because the universal laws are kind of digested and regurgitated in a very Western sense, and I like that the Hermetic Principles stay very true to the ancient scripts. It's very scientific, the scientific laws that govern the universe. Some of them are immutable, meaning they can't be changed, they can't be moved, they will always remain as they are. That's gravity, basically. I don't even know if gravity is immutable, because in space gravity doesn't exist, so maybe that's mutable. But the mutable laws are liable to change. They can be fixed, they can be transcended, so on and so forth. These are not laws that you follow. They're not laws that, you can go to jail if you break them, but you will find yourself resisting a lot if you go against these laws, and you can be going against these laws and not know a thing. And so my purpose for sharing this information with you is for you to learn the same way that I did. The 7 universal laws, this is what it is, and you can work with these laws, and you can flow with them, or you can not learn about them, not know about them, and wonder, why am I always met with resistance? Why is everything so hard for me? Why does everything not work for me? I'm going to break down separate videos where I'm going to go more in depth explaining them, but for now I just wanted to introduce the idea, the concept for you, so maybe you can search, you can look it up if you want. Once you apply these laws, you will see a significant change in your life. You will feel like you're not swimming against the tide anymore. Whereas before, to get from point A to point B, you might have tried to take shortcuts, or you might have tried to take, there might have been detours. But with the 7 universal principles, once you use them and work with them in your favor and work with them for the higher good, let me just blurt that shit out from the highest mountain, for the higher good, you will find that your life is a lot more easier, things are more simpler, and things flow to you a lot more. Another reason I wanted to stick with the 7 universal principles versus the 12 is because the significance of the number 7 cannot be ignored. You know, there are 7 days of the week. There are 7 chakras. You know, 7 is known to be a very godly number, because it's very interesting to me, and you might find it interesting, that the 7 universal laws actually perfectly align with the 7 chakras, and each law perfectly, you know, goes with each chakra, which I will describe more. But here we go. The first universal law being the law of mentalism. The law of mentalism is an immutable law. It cannot be changed. It is what it is. And the law of mentalism states that the universe is mental, and that everything you see around you and everything that you will create will always come from first a thought. So basically, this is the first law that can set the foundation for you to really train your mind, to really understand your mind, and to create the conditions that you want by creating the perfect conditions in your mind, spaciousness, clearness, and all of that. So that's the first universal law. The chakra that aligns with that universal law is the crown chakra. And so while the universal laws go down, they descend like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The way that they align with the chakras are the opposite. So we start from the top. Mentalism corresponds perfectly with the crown chakra. Second universal law, the law of correspondence, which is my favorite and the most profound to me. Law of correspondence is also an immutable law. Cannot be changed, cannot be negotiated. It is what it is. Law of correspondence states that there's always a correspondence between the laws and phenomenon of the individual and the laws and phenomenon of the collective. The law of correspondence really introduces the idea of the individual versus the collective, and how the microcosm, you know, moves within the macrocosm. It's basically like, here's God and here's us. God is a huge source of energy, you know, all encompassing, and we are the same thing on a smaller scale, you know. In the Bible it says man was created in the image of God, and that's basically what the law of correspondence is stating. We are parallel to, you know, the bigger happenings around us. You know, that's why people say you are the whole universe within yourself. Because in essence, like deep down, we truly are. And I can't wait to do this video, because I know you're probably like, what the fuck? But law of correspondence basically states, as above, so below. And it can help you understand a lot about the world that you would otherwise have no way of knowing. The law of correspondence corresponds with the third eye chakra, all-seeing eye, seeing things for how they really are. And that's truly the law of correspondence. The third universal law, or Hermetic Principle, the law of vibration, which, you know, is basically the law of attraction. And it's really the same kind of as my Spirituality for Beginners video, where I spoke about how everything vibrates and how everything is mostly empty space. The law of vibration is more scientific in nature, and basically confirms that law of vibration is also an immutable law. It cannot be changed. It's very scientific to its core, and it corresponds with the throat chakra. Whenever you're speaking, take notice how if you put your fingers right here, you can feel your throat vibrating. So those two correspond heavily. Fourth law, the law of polarity. The law of polarity, there is good in the world and there is bad in the world, and there cannot be one without the other. Law of polarity can also be looked at, you know, the law of duality. Law of polarity states that nothing is singular. Everything has its polar opposite, and nothing is one-sided. Forces and energy comes in pairs. You cannot have one without the other. The law of polarity, the first of the universal laws, to be mutable. It can be changeable. It corresponds with the heart chakra. I think it's so dope how, you know, the heart chakra stands as the center, the in-between of all the other chakras. Between the higher chakras, the crown, the third eye, and the throat. The heart is in between those and the lower chakras, you know, the sacral, the solar, and the root. And so polarity being, you know, every force has its opposite. Polarity corresponding with the heart chakra is everything, because when it comes to the yin and yang, the heart chakra is the whole thing. It's, how can I explain this? It's the center of the higher and the lower. It's where they all meet, and it's where they all, you know, form. I don't know how to describe it. But, do you get what I'm saying? I think it means everything that the heart chakra relates to polarity, because polarity is stating that nothing is one-sided, and the heart chakra is stating the same thing. Compassion for all things, you know? Love everything holistically. That's what the heart chakra is all about, holistic. As the 3 higher chakras are more spiritual in nature, are more, you know, once you conquer the lower, it's kind of like a pyramid, you move up to the higher. And it's the same with the universal laws. Once you understand mentalism, then you'll understand correspondence, and the two go together. Once you understand correspondence and mentalism, you'll understand polarity, and then you understand how the 3 go together. And I'll go more in depth when I make more in-depth videos, but it's just truly so trippy. The 5th universal law, also mutable, is the law of rhythm. Law of rhythm is everything. Law of rhythm is all about the cycles. It's all about, you know, what goes up must come down. The law of rhythm compensates for everything. So basically, the law of rhythm states that the universe balances itself out, and that everything flows in and out. So the law of rhythm is truly amazing to work with when you go through, if you have depression, anxiety, and you go through cycles of being happy and unhappy. Once you come to understand the law of rhythm truly, then you'll come to realize that it's just something that you have to flow with, and that it's a true part of life. It's a universal law that can, you know, you can work with it, but it can't really be changed. You'll always have ups and downs. So the law of rhythm corresponds with the solar plexus chakra. Your personal power chakra. The next universal law, the 6th, is the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect basically states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. For everything you do, and not only anything you do, but it's basically saying any energy you put out, there's going to be energy born from it. So law of cause and effect is really important because it's the law of responsibility, basically, and it corresponds with your sacral chakra, which is the place of the self. It's all about you. And that's important because the law of cause and effect is about you. It's about being responsible, holding yourself responsible, not only for what you do, but for every thought you think. The law of cause and effect states that every even thought that is sent out in the universe creates a wave, and it creates a ripple effect, and it matters, you know? It affects something else. It's kind of like the butterfly effect. So law of cause and effect is basically saying be responsible for everything you do and think, because it's going to have, you know, it's going to have its place in the world, and it's going to manifest more of that. Last universal law, the 7th universal law, is the law of gender. It's not the law of physical gender, although it corresponds with the root chakra, which is like physically, I don't know if the root chakra or the sacral chakra is like your reproductive organs, but law of gender is not physical gender. Let's not get into all of that in the comments, bro. Law of gender states that everything in the universe has its feminine and its masculine principles, and that nothing can exist without the other. It's basically like, you know, the yin and yang on my back. Masculine and feminine. Or maybe, I think this is feminine. Feminine and masculine. And inside one is the other, and inside the other is the other. Nothing can exist without its masculine and feminine energies. And not only people, it's not only just stating like everyone has masculine and feminine energy. It's stating situations and everything has its masculine and has its feminine. Not in the sense of, you know, like macho man versus, you know, the housewife. I'll make a video really talking about masculine and feminine, but masculine and feminine is basically polarity. It's the polar opposites. One cannot be without the other, and they are both equally as important in manifesting, you know, in understanding situations, and having a holistic view of your life and not a fragmented one. Alright, so those were the 7 universal laws, the 7 Hermetic Principles. Once again, you can find these by looking them up online. If I was you, I would search the 7 Hermetic Principles or the Kabbalion, which is like, I think, the book in which they're all written. The next video is going to be in depth. It's going to be mentalism. You know, the universe is mental, how to train your mind, what that means, understanding the law and seeing how the law works in the universe, and also understanding how everything came to be. and how you can truly create your reality. That's the foundation. You have to understand mentalism to, you know, understand how any of these other laws work. And so these are the 7 universal laws. Once you learn these, understand these, and are able to apply them and work with them in your life, you'll find yourself a lot more at ease, a lot more at peace, and a lot more content. Because a lot of the reasons why we feel so in turmoil and shit is because we don't understand, you know, like, why does this happen to good people, and, you know, what is this and what is this, and it can be so depressing. The universal laws are here not for you to abuse them, because let me make this clear. The reason why government elites and the reason why higher ups and the evil corporations and the evil greedy people have any type of control over us is because they know these universal laws. They know them, and they know that we don't, and so it's then in their power to use them against us, to use them for negative, for dark forces. And that's the realest shit I'm gonna say on this video, honestly. So I don't know about you, but I'm ready to take my power back. I'm ready to take my knowledge back, and I'm ready for my life to be in my hands again and not feel, you know, at the will of others. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. The next video is going to be mentalism, and I will see you in a little bit.